to another episode of $1,000 Car Guy. Welcome back.
So here we are, back in the Mustang as usual. So I was looking at some things that I could possibly remove to make this job a lot easier for me. Here's that big coolant overflow reservoir. You see it goes all the way down there. You couldn't see that last night because it was dark out. So anyway, I think we are going to continue removing some large components today. I thought maybe since this radiator fluid hose is up so high, I might be able to remove that to make my life easier. So I gave it a little squeeze to see if there was any kind of juice in there, and listen to this. Yeah, they're not supposed to be crunchy. So realizing that, that's a bit terrifying, but anyway, we will just continue like it's no big deal. So I think today I'm going to work on removing this, probably most of the intake, at least all the plastic bits. We'll record all that, that way I can remember how everything goes back together. There's not a whole lot to do on this side except maybe remove this fan shroud and probably the electronic fans. I mean, everything has to come out anyway because I want to try and reuse as much as possible. I will tape off and hopefully marker everywhere that there is a special connector. So follow me on my journey today. So I went and labeled my important connectors: air cleaner and rubber intake, because I don't know what any kind of sensor is doing back there other than maybe measuring the temperature. I don't know. I literally just want to unplug you. Thank you. Is that so difficult? Much easier. Cool. Oh good. These are all attached to this now. So when I take off this whole assembly, everything will go with it. Was this only attached by that? That's a little scary. Remember, this show isn't just for you, it's also for me. See? I marked intake side for this extra hose that, well, I guess it loops back that way. I don't really know. By recording these videos, it actually allows me to go back in time and re-watch everything that I did at normal speed, not the sped up speed that you see. Speed, speed, speed. Barry Allen, The Flash, Speedster. Anyway, by recording everything, it allows me to go back and re-watch my mistakes so that I don't screw it up, or the fact that I can undo something after watching how I did it the first time. Yeah. I imagine those intakes are normally held in by a little bit more than just a hose clamp, but well, that's how mine came out. Now we can see how these wires were run from that side before. So technically I could unplug it there and there, pull that harness back through the side and then over the top, if I really wanted to. Next thing I'm going to do is remove this connector and the one down here controlling the fan, and then I will bag and tag them. That really wasn't connected at all. Fan switch, overflow bottle. What are the odds that this marker actually stays on this connector over this entire swap? Guess we'll find out. For the two bolts located on the radiator support, it's going to be a 5/16 1 and 2. And then there is a 7mm bolt that holds on the actual plastic casing of the overflow tank to that metal support. Obviously, if you're removing everything together, you don't need to remove that bolt that's holding that on. It's not going to be this easy, is it? Because I have air conditioning lines running right here and I can't pull it out because of them. I am going to remove that. What? This connector is connected to that? And not to the overflow tank? What is this? In order to get all these lines to go with each other. Well, that was brown and gross. I'm going to remove that hose and then pull everything out the top, theoretically. Woohoo! Practically. Next up, we've got this big connector that's on the underside of that shield. And this plug is held in with a 5mm bolt. Think it's going to be super long? Or will we actually get lucky? No whammy, 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 no whammy. Never mind, it's a super long bolt. Haha! Got it! So yeah, if any of you at home could tell me what this is, That'd be nice. Save me the time of looking it up. And in case you want to know what that says, and for my own record, it says Overflow Shroud Connector. There's no way I'm going to be able to read this later on. So this is pretty cool. We should be able to pass all of these connectors now through the harness on the outside of the fender. Should be. Nice. And now it goes up somewhere else. We're trying to be super diligent here, and I almost forgot a major connector. This one goes to the mass airflow sensor. Forgetting that means no worky. Woo! Mass airflow. I think it's important that I lop off these connectors while I remember where they went to. Although I don't remember where they went to, I do know that they were just hanging out the front of the car. So they weren't doing anything back then. This one used to be a light bulb. Problem solved. Next up, as I follow this harness back across, the ultimate goal is to get everything back out that side, or at least find out what it does. So I've got these running down here, which I think that one just comes right out. And then there's this larger one, which I'll take out when I have two hands. But they lead down to this box with these metal lines coming out of it. And I have no idea what that box does. Not a clue. Maybe somebody can inform me. But without having all the stuff on top here, you know, that specific overflow tank, I can now see that I'm bypassing the AC compressor, along with the power steering pump has not been hooked up for quite some time. I mean, that's fine. I wasn't going to use those things anyway, but it's neat to be able to see that they're not actually hooked up on the belt system. So let's get out this other connector and then move forward. I will probably tag these because I don't know what they do and I don't want to clip them off just yet. Since I don't know the actual name for that box down there, I just label these connectors as front passenger lower box. Looks like lover. Huh. Next up, since I want to get this harness on the outside of the car, I need to take off this one 5/16 bolt, which is holding in the bracket, which keeps the radiator where it's located. And then all the way at this end, I need to remove this ground because the bolt is literally in front of one of the two additional bolts that hold on that side of the bracket. So, 4 bolts in total. Raise your hand if you think the radiator might fall out when I do this. Woohoo! Remember, always put your bolts back where you found them. That way the next time you go to get them, they're already where you left them. Does that even make sense? Because this is such a special ground all the way at this end, we want to be sure to remember to put this back in immediately after I take it out and get the harness out. Okay, there's the ground lug removed. Now we can kind of put that wherever we want, as long as we don't forget where it goes. Next is these two, which are the final bracket for the radiator. Nice. That's pretty easy. Now let's see if we can get this harness loose. Of course there's more Ford clips down here. Come on. Now. Yeah. Now we're cooking with gas. Of course there's another ground over here I probably should did something with. Now that we have the harness up and above the old brackets that held on the radiator, it's time to put them back in because I want this radiator supported, even though I'm probably eventually going to take it out anyway. Time to finally strip this harness. The sign of a good job done. Come on, Andrew. Good job done? Anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode of $1,000 Car Guy. Thank you so much for watching. And I have some homework to do tonight. We need to make sure that we understand what that box is way down there, because if I don't need it, then we get to remove all of this next. Stay tuned. I'll see you on the next episode. Now that we got the harness up and above the wiring harness, blah.